Good morning, everybody. Good morning again. I will talk on a topic that I know will touch your hearts. It is not political. And the earlier speakers have kind of glossed over it a little bit. The first speaker called it creativity. The last speaker called it unemployment. I want to talk to you about entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship is something that has become too critical in our today's society, because without it, we cannot solve several nagging problems facing our country as a whole, and the Southeast in particular, and that is unemployment. All over the world, serious countries take unemployment very seriously. And unemployment is one of the measures for the success of the growth of any nation state. And that is why, because the government is always conscious and aware that they do not possess the capacity to create full employment, they look for and engage the services and the support of the organized private sector. Fortunately, I am coming from the organized private sector. This part of the world where we come from, the Southeast, the Igbo nation, that is something that God has done for us, which I'm not saying that he didn't do it for the others, but I'm saying that he did it more for us than he has done it for the others. And that is the spirit of entrepreneurship. It's inside almost every other Igbo person. Entrepreneurship. The ability to create, the ability to think out, the ability for divergent thinking, the ability to say, we agree there are no employment opportunities again, therefore we must create opportunities for ourselves, and those opportunities we are going to create for ourselves will impact on our society, improve the wealth and the well-being of our people, and at the same time help to create opportunities for other people to be gainfully employed. And that is why I thank particularly the organizers of this event, because this is creativity in action. The Igbo man is very creative by nature. The Igbo man is very enterprising by nature. The Igbo man is highly exposed because of our itinerant nature. I'll give you a few examples. One is that before 1950, up to the middle and the late 60s, the eastern region, from where Southeast was carved out, was regarded as the fastest growing economy in the whole of Sub-Saharan Africa. The fastest growing. Because at that time, northern part of Nigeria were producing groundnut. They will produce groundnut, they will export groundnut. The West was producing cocoa, they will produce cocoa, they will export cocoa. The East was producing palm fruits, but we never exported palm fruits. What we did was to add value. That value addition is entrepreneurship. That value addition made us to export only processed palm fruit by way of palm oil and by way of palm kernel nuts. So we started early to add value. About this time, we have started also to practice some form of production. I know I'm talking with mainly young people, but a little bit older generation will know what used to be called Igbo made. Igbo made means goods that were manufactured in the eastern region. Igbo made was a derogatory name because those products were not particularly finely finished, like the products from either Europe or North American countries. Igbo made, but that is a show of creativity. That's a show of enterprise. That's a show of the innate entrepreneurship that is right inside the Southeasterner, to which all of us belong. And I know it in my heart that more than 80% of you people sitting here, you are entrepreneurs in the making, whether you have started it or you are about to start it. About this time that we are producing our so-called Igbo-made products, China was also producing, trying their hands, coming out of their almost 100 years of exile, economic exile. Japan came out from the Second World War by 1945. They were trying their hands on new products. Korea was the same thing. Taiwan, the same thing. Malaysia, the same thing. So many countries of the world were debuting with products that originated in their own country. In the whole of this side of Africa, it was only the Southeast that was competing and comparing with those other countries. Fortunately for those countries, they didn't experience any interruption in their activities. They kept on moving on, they kept on improving, they kept on advancing with the IT coming in, new innovations coming on board, and then human capital development, and then they kept on advancing to the point that their products became commercially accepted globally, and that is how their entrepreneurs became rich and wealthy, and then started to contribute a lot more to the economy of these countries. Unfortunately, like I said, for the Southeasterner, and particularly the Eastern region at the time, the war came. And while the Southeasterner and the rest of the Eastern region were busy planning to fight the war for survival, the rest of Nigeria, unfortunately, had a completely different agenda. And that agenda was to crush Biafra, and at the same time, to destroy that budding entrepreneurship spirit and capacity that was being grown in the whole of the Southeastern Nigeria. And thirdly, also, they tried, immediately after the war, to make sure that they fix a glass ceiling that will make it very difficult, if not impossible, for the entrepreneurs in the Southeast to grow and develop and contribute significantly to the growth of our economy. This is a challenge that I want all of you to start thinking about very seriously. It is not normal. There are artificial problems that are hanging out there, preventing us. And then the whole idea, immediately after the war, the whole idea of the nation called Nigeria was to make sure that, number one, they kill the political and economic Biafra. Number two, to make sure that the cost of production in this part of the world becomes very unbearable. And then number three, to make sure that they create a sense of insecurity within this area, which was intended to scare away investors, both existing investors and potential investors. And then finally, to make sure that the energy and the creative capacity of our youths are exported and transported out of this zone into all other areas where they should go and start developing their host communities to the detriment of our own home community here. And they did this things through so many ways. When I talk about entrepreneurship, it is not essentially about manufacturing of goods and products. There's entrepreneurship in innovation. There's entrepreneurship in IT development. There's entrepreneurship in agriculture, finding better ways of doing it. There's entrepreneurship in designing. The most important thing is that the product of the entrepreneurship is something that must, one way or the other, touch lives. One way or the other, create a new wealth base out of nothing or out of something that needs to be expanded. That is why I say that every person sitting here is an entrepreneur. There is something you can do for yourself. So for you to look for employment today, sustainable employment opportunities today in this country, you may have to start looking towards Abuja. You may have to start looking towards Kano. You may have to start looking towards Lagos. But if you are an entrepreneur in your own capacity, you can be here and still achieve that which you still want to achieve. 3 things that you must always have at the back of your mind is: number 1, to succeed here, you must be very thorough. You must be very, very well informed. You must understand from day one there's no zero tolerance for failure or mistakes in entrepreneurship in this part of the world. And then number 2, you must understand that failure can never ever overtake you. If you are determined, if you are starting up something and you are determined, whoever is determined to succeed in entrepreneurship, failure cannot overtake you if that determination is strong and is sufficiently enough. And finally, there's this apt message that has been flying around for a long while, which says that you have to always look beyond others. See yourself. I am the one. I am strong. I am capable. I am resilient. And I believe in God. God is the creator, and a human entrepreneur is also a creator. Because you create wealth, you create opportunities for others, and there are lots and lots of opportunities in the Southeast for each and every one of us. And I wish you that today, after listening to this, you must start coming up with something you must create for yourself and use it to help yourself and help others. God bless you all, and thank you.